Aren't you just saying shit happens?
Well, a trigger is any stimulus that impacts our behavior. Sight, smell, sound. And it's kind of like shit happens, but kind of not like shit happens. Motivational speech is always the same. You know, Jim was poor, Jim was sick, Jim had a terrible life. They said he couldn't do it, and now Jim is multi-zillionaire, and you can do this too. That's one end of the spectrum. I don't think it's a bad thing, by the way, because you do improve your odds on success if you have a positive attitude. It certainly doesn't ensure success. The other extreme is B.F. Skinner, which is more like shit happens. That is, we are strictly a stimulus response machine. And triggers in our environment control us, and we are like robots that are controlled by our environment. And as we wander through life, that's the way it works. I'm not so arrogant or naive to believe that the world is not creating me. Yet at the same time, I can make a difference in the world too. So the world's creating me, and simultaneously I'm creating the world.
So I'd like to just pick that apart a little bit. The genus triggers seems to include situational stuff, inanimate objects, a school reunion. Trigger seems to encompass pretty much everything.
Any stimulus that influences our behavior. Could be a smell, sight, sound.
Is a trigger about the thing, or is it about me?
Both. A trigger is any stimulus that impacts my behavior. So therefore, if it's a stimulus out in the environment, but it doesn't impact my behavior, it wouldn't be considered a trigger. So the fact that it's a trigger means it triggered something. On the other hand, it is out there. So any stimulus that impacts my behavior is defined as a trigger.
But how about a stimulus that used to trigger my behavior, that now I choose not to let trigger my behavior? Is it a trigger?
No, not the way I define it. And I don't like to get lost in definition of words. One of my old teachers, Dr. Paul Hersey, told me, don't get involved in semantic debates. Basically, have an operational definition. Don't claim your definition is better than anyone else's. So that's my definition of triggers. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or good. That's just the way I define it for the book.
From your own coaching work, if you're doing a 360 with maybe a group of, 8 or 10...
18 is the average.
Okay, 18 executives. Something happens, like a new CEO is appointed.
Right.
Is that a trigger for the executive team?
Yes. Yeah, it's a trigger. It triggers a lot of things, not always the same thing. You see, it might trigger one thing in one person and something totally different in somebody else. If you have a new CEO, one person might trigger relief. I'm happy the old CEO's gone, new opportunity. Another might trigger panic. I didn't want this guy to get the job. He knows I didn't want him to get the job. I'm probably going to get fired. Same trigger, different reaction, different impact from the trigger.